In this week's drive, we travel and arrive in style and class.
What happens once they go to the rest?
Crash with no style and no class. Push and shove to make a pass. And go racing, with or without the grass. All this and more in this week's Drive. We start this week with the 14th UAE Desert Challenge in Dubai, used by many as a dress rehearsal for the ultramarathon Paris-Dakar at the end of the year. The competitors were flagged off for a prologue around a specially built 2-kilometre track to set the starting order by multiple Middle East rally champion Mohammed bin Sulayem. The event was the penultimate round of the 2004 FIA World Cup for cross-country rallies. Spain's Marc Comer and Påls Anders Ulevalsæter of Norway were fastest in the motorcycle class, both riding KTM 660 rallies. They both crossed the line in 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Marek Dabrowski of Poland, also on a KTM, tied for third with home favourite Atif Al-Zaruni on a Honda. The car class was equally competitive, with its fair share of rally champions past and present. France's Bruno Sabi and his co-driver Michel Piron set the fastest time in their Volkswagen Touareg. A former winner of this event, Bruno matched the quickest bikes, 2 seconds ahead of Britain's former world rally champion Colin McRae in a Nissan pickup. McRae was driving last year's Nissan before the introduction of the 05 model in late October ahead of the Dakar. McRae's aim in Dubai was to get as much rally raid experience as possible and to continue his apprenticeship in the dunes. Sharing third place were teammates Stefan Peterhansel and Hiroshi Masuoka, both in Mitsubishi Evolutions. Peterhansel was chasing his third consecutive win at the event in the Mitsubishi, which has won 4 of the 5 rounds in the World Cup this year. Also taking part was Finland's 4-time World Rally champion Juha Kankkunen. Driving another Volkswagen Touareg, the Finn won the Paris-Dakar event in 1988. Also in the event were 3 Russian KAMAZ racing trucks, which have dominated these events over the past years. In fact, the KAMAZ managed to pull McRae's pickup out of a dip where it had got bogged and broken down. Påls Anders Ulevalsæter was looking for a good result. He could clinch the World Championship in Dubai. Mohammed bin Sulayem, chief organiser and driving force behind the Desert Challenge, flagged off the 123 cars, bikes and trucks in Abu Dhabi for the first proper racing stage. Peterhansel saw his chances of a third victory of the event slip away.
We broke the rear diff.
Sabi, a former winner of the event, was forced to slow down with mechanical problems. Like Sabi, Masuoka also hit trouble, losing around 15 minutes 2 kilometres from the end of the stage with electrical and petrol pump problems. Grégoire de Mavius claimed an early second place, just 9 seconds ahead of teammate Colin McRae, making it an excellent day for Nissan. Juha Kankkunen, making his debut in the Desert Challenge like McRae, was in 4th position but more than 5 minutes adrift. But ahead of them all, and with the most to smile about at the end of the first day, was Khalifa Al-Moutawi, leader of the race for the driver's title, who won the 351-kilometre first special stage by 25 seconds in his BMW X5. Marc Comer, meanwhile, was fastest on 2 wheels, heading fellow Spaniard Isidre Esteve by 2 minutes, with Ulevalsæter 5th and well placed to clinch the cross-country rally's World Championship for bikes. For 5 days, the Liwa Oasis was the centre of rally action. The start of the second day was delayed by 2 hours by fog, and the stage length was reduced by over 50 kilometres. With giant dunes, soft sand and scorching temperatures, the man to suffer the most was Colin McRae. After passing his teammate de Mavius, McRae's rally came to a grinding halt in the dunes with engine problems. German woman driver Jutta Kleinschmidt, fifth overnight, plummeted out of contention when her Volkswagen Touareg broke its steering rack 50 kilometres into the stage. Belgian De Mavius moved over 8 minutes clear of overnight leader Khalifa Al-Moutawi after setting the second fastest time of the day. But Al-Moutawi remained on course for the driver's title in the cross-country World Cup. Juha Kankkunen moved up the overall standings from 4th to 3rd, while Stefan Peterhansel enjoyed himself slightly more. The reigning cross-country world champion had dropped back to 35th after damaging his rear differential, but moved back up the field with the third fastest stage time. But the best time of the day went to Hiroshi Masuoka in his Mitsubishi, and the Japanese driver moved up to 5th overall. Peterhansel had recorded the fastest time in the third stage and followed that up with the second fastest time in the fourth and final stage. Al-Moutawi was looking for a solid finish in his BMW X5 to virtually ensure victory in the championship. Rivals De Mavius and Peterhansel can both mathematically beat him to the driver's crown, but neither plan to contest the final round of the series in Argentina, where the UAE driver's world title should be confirmed. De Mavius had led the event earlier on, but eventually had to settle for overall second place in his Nissan pickup. The Belgian driver was third fastest in the final stage to finish 13 minutes and 14 seconds behind the event winner Hiroshi Masuoka. The Japanese driver ended a 6-year wait to win the event after starting the final day in the lead. Masuoka had made his move on Wednesday and followed it up with victory on the final day to complete the 2004 UAE Desert Challenge in a total time of 14 hours, 5 minutes and 57 seconds. In the motorcycle section, Spain's Isidre Esteve cruised to overall victory in a time of 15 hours and 17 minutes. That was good enough to push Poland's Marek Dabrowski into second place by 8 minutes and 19 seconds. In the truck section, Firdaus and Ildar Kabirov and Andrei Mokaev were obliged to head off the course to get past a press vehicle. Not that that slowed them down very much. The event ended when organisers cancelled the final 2 special stages ahead of the advent of the holy month of Ramadan.
I'm
particularly happy that I've now won 2 races in the World Championship. My first win in Morocco gave me great pleasure, so did this one, but the feeling is a little different after Richard Sainz's accident in Egypt, but also because our preparation was a little different. We were very focused, we didn't suffer any accidents, and nor did we have any problems outside the race.
There were plenty of cheers for local UAE driver Khalifa Al-Moutawi and his French co-driver Alain Guehenec. Third place finish left him champion-elect. Japan's Hiroshi Masuoka won the Drivers' Desert Challenge for Mitsubishi after a 6-year wait. Out of the 123 starters, 33 cars, 59 bikes and 5 trucks finished the event. We stay in Dubai, where the latest Rolls-Royce model has been undergoing final hot weather testing. First seen at Goodwood in England last January, the all-new Phantom has found buyers in 25 countries so far. The legendary pursuit of excellence means that Rolls-Royce will go to great lengths to make sure that their cars will withstand the high temperatures and humidity levels that they would face in the Middle East. So aspects such as cooling, insulation and corrosion resistance are constantly under review. New 21-inch wheels are fitted with special tyres from Goodyear, which are designed to run even if they're flat at speeds of up to 80 kilometres an hour and for distances of up to 160 kilometres. In fact, the Phantom can keep going at this reduced pace even if all 4 tyres are flat. The new wheels and tyre combination is undergoing conformation testing, making sure that they are compatible with the car in real-world situations. Needless to say, any Phantom sold in the Middle East will probably be seen at places like the 7-star Burj Al Arab Hotel. Unlike many earlier Rolls-Royce models, which were intended to be driven by a chauffeur, the Phantom is intended to be a driver's car and has been engineered to cope with what the company calls spirited driving, as well as the more usual stately progression. Unfortunately, the famous Spirit of Ecstasy mascot has become a favourite with thieves, so it now retreats when not required. The BMW-inspired engine now has 12 cylinders, but retains the 6.75-litre capacity of the most recent V8s.
For Rolls-Royce, this market in the Middle East is very important to us. There's a good potential of volume here in the future. We believe our car is optimised for this market with excellent driving comfort, refinement, and beautiful driving pleasure. Literally wafting around the desert is an experience in a Phantom.
In the first year of production, 481 Phantoms were built, and this year production should reach close to the annual target of 1,000 cars. Every Phantom is built to order, and the basic price is €323,700, plus local taxes, of course. The final round of the European Touring Car Series was also held, somewhat inexplicably, in Dubai, making the UAE into something of a motorsports centre for the region. BMW driver Dirk Muller, leading the series by 12 points going into the season's penultimate race, had a nightmare day in 40°C temperatures. In the first race, Englishman Andy Priaulx sprinted from the pole into the lead, chased by Italy's Gabriele Tarquini. Behind them, drivers were finding grip was not always where they wanted it. Muller was making his way up the field when a collision with Luca Rangoni forced him out of the race on lap 4. Tarquini slipped past Priaulx's BMW to take the lead. Muller was forced out of the race when he suffered a burst tyre after his BMW was hit from behind by privateer Alfa Romeo driver Rangoni. Tarquini held on to a comfortable win from Priaulx in second, and Muller faced the last race of the season with a 4-point lead over Priaulx. Race 2 was red flagged after a crash put Sandro Sardelli's Peugeot onto its roof. All the drivers escaped unhurt. On the restart, Priaulx grabbed the lead from Alex Zanardi, with Muller elbowing his way up the field after starting at the back of the grid. He finished 5th, despite twice going off into the gravel. On the 5th lap, Tarquini again passed Priaulx, going on to secure his 6th win of the season, but 2nd was enough to secure Priaulx the championship. Tarquini had to be content with 3rd after losing all hope of retaining his title when he was forced out in the previous round in Oschersleben in Germany with transmission problems.
I mean, what to say? I mean, congratulations to Andy, but you know, I'm really pissed off. You know, this is the way I lost last year also, important points, and this year again, and nothing is happening, so I'm feeling really great.
Priaulx finished level on points with Muller, but claimed the title with 5 wins to the Germans' 3.
It's fantastic. I mean, we've worked hard for this. We've worked so hard, and well, we did it in the end. It was tough, but we did it.
Tarquini was only 5 points behind the pair, with Dirk's brother Jorg a further 13 points adrift. It was a great afternoon for racing at the high-speed Talladega track, where a huge crowd of fans turned out for race 29 of the 36-event series. There was a close call for a member of Kevin Harvick's pit crew. As Harvick pitted, he locked up the brakes, and a tyre changer had to leap over the nose to avoid being run over.
Mike, good job.
On lap 142, Hermie Sadler tagged Jeff Green from behind, sending him into the wall. Michael Waltrip couldn't avoid Green and ploughed into him. Jeremy Mayfield, Jimmy Spencer and Bobby Hamilton were also involved, and all 5 suffered heavy damage. On lap 177, as many of the leading cars came into pit, Sterling Marlin got turned around in the pack and Bobby Labonte got caught up too. Several drivers were trying to avoid Mark Martin, who tried to move down across the track to reach the pit lane. 1 lap from the end, Jeff Gordon hit the back of Casey Kane, but officials decided against bringing out the caution flag. Gordon finished 19th and fell from 1st to 3rd in the point standings. Dale Earnhardt Jr. charged from 11th place to victory and the season's points lead in the last 5 laps. Although he was at or near the front virtually the entire race, leading for 78 of the 188 laps, Earnhardt fell behind when his crew chief decided to fit 2 fresh right-side tyres on his final pit stop. Then, just as Earnhardt crossed the line to claim victory, Elliott Sadler's car flipped in the air but landed back on all four wheels in a move dubbed the Talladega Tumble. Sadler, who had a spectacular flip on the back straight in this race last year, did it again, sliding backwards into the grass and doing a flip before landing on his wheels as he crossed the finish line. He wound up 22nd and fell to 8th in the standings, 166 points behind Earnhardt, and Sadler was unhurt. Earnhardt took the series lead by 13 points over Kurt Busch. There are 7 more races. Tony Kanaan started at the back of the 21-car field in Fontana, but by the 6th lap he was 4th and led for 25 laps late in the race. A day earlier, Kanaan had failed to get in a qualifying lap, so he started from the back of the grid and his crew replaced the engine for race day. Kanaan needed only to finish 4th to wrap up the championship.
Still there.
Ooh, very close there.
Look at all this crowd standing up, just loving this stuff right now.
The caution flag came out when Thomas Enger's car spun in the middle of the track and was struck by another Thomas, Scheckter. Czech-born Formula One and Le Mans driver Enger seemed to try and swerve around a patch on the track and ended up sideways right ahead of the South African, who had nowhere to go. Schechter's father Jody was Formula One world champion the year before he was born. Fortunately, neither driver was seriously hurt.
Scheckter, the yellow car with Thomas Eng in the front. Thomas Eng just got completely...
Adrian Fernandez was a few feet ahead of Kanaan when the final yellow flag came out. The 15 drivers still running went 5 laps under the caution before the restart. When the green flag came out, Fernandez and Kanaan were virtually wheel to wheel with Fernandez on the outside. He led for 18 laps, averaging 179 miles an hour, and was less than a metre in front of Kanaan at the end of the 400-mile event.
Takes the championship.
His victory was the 3rd this year, and the 3rd in the last 5 events for the Mexican. Briton Dan Wheldon, 2nd in the points, finished 3rd, with defending champion Sam Hornish 4th.
They almost hit each other there. Look at Tony.
Later, Wheldon congratulated his teammate Kanaan on his title.
That's friendship.
Round 5 of the 9-race Supermoto calendar was at Ottaviano Circuit in Italy, 40 kilometres southwest of Milan. Fans got their money's worth when the championship was blown wide open by the end of lap 1. Boris Chambon, leading by 15 points, crashed out, leading Belgium's Eddie Seal in front. But his Husqvarna team in the pits was soon to be disappointed as KTM's Thierry van den Bosch first overtook Seal's teammate Gerald Delapine on lap 2, and then Seal himself 5 laps later. The Belgian tried to sneak back down the inside, but Van den Bosch closed the door. Further back, Walter Bartolini and Fabrice Guyot showed the commitment needed to race in this hybrid class, which uses modified dirt bikes fitted with road racing wheels, tyres and brakes. Thierry van den Bosch powered away, mastering the mixture of tarmac and mud, effortlessly carrying his front wheel over the whoops. The Frenchman was not threatened again for the rest of the 20-lap race. With 3 laps to go, Seal was caught by Delapine, but 40 points lifted him to 5th in the standings, 5 behind Delapine. Up ahead, Van den Bosch crossed the line for his 3rd Supermoto win of the season, passing Chambon for the title lead. Delapine headed Husqvarna teammate Seal and Ivan Lazzarini. Round 6 of the season takes place at Bilstein in Belgium. Both Valentino Rossi and 125 standings leader Andrea Dovizioso were within touching distance of their respective world titles. Rossi, nursing an injured finger from his crash at the Qatar race, battled for the lead over the opening laps with Honda's Alex Barros. He shook off the Brazilian after 4 laps and opened a gap, leaving title rival Sete Gibernau battling with Carlos Checa and Nicky Hayden. Marco Melandri's run of off-track excursions continued in Malaysia. At the halfway stage, Gibernau was 5th and unable to progress. Max Biaggi relegated Barros to 3rd place, leaving Nicky Hayden in 4th. A late charge from Loris Capirossi and Makoto Tamada saw Gibernau lose 2 more places in the last 6 laps. Rossi, Biaggi and Barros made the podium with Hayden 4th, but Tamada passed Capirossi on the last lap for 5th, chasing 5th place in the championship. 7th for Gibernau was his lowest finish of the season.
I like a lot this track. We spend a lot of time during the winter for make test, and the bike worked very well. Anyway, the race was hard. Before with Barros and after with Biaggi, because It's very harder than yesterday. The track have a little bit less grip because it's more hot, and also make 21 laps is difficult. I'm very, very happy, but also tired, so I'm not able to make more.
Rossi's victory means the reigning world champ can keep his crown by finishing in the top 2 positions of the next race in Australia, the penultimate round of the series. Dani Pedrosa was unable to clinch the 250cc World Championship despite riding a perfect race which saw him take victory by over 13 seconds. The win was Pedrosa's 6th of the season. However, second place for Sebastian Porto after an intense battle with Tony Elias means that the Spanish youngster needs just another 2 points to make sure of the title, regardless of Porto's position at Phillip Island. Pedrosa broke both legs in Australia last year. Elias completed the podium to continue his strong finish to the season, whilst Alex de Angelis and Randy de Punier completed the top 5. But that 5th place for de Punier means that his chances of winning a title are now completely over. Pedrosa, the current 125 world champion, looks certain to claim the 250 title in his first year in the class. Not even Valentino Rossi managed to achieve that. However, the title was decided in the 125 class. Hector Barbero, who started the race as the only rider beside Andrea Dovizioso with a realistic chance of claiming the title, crashed out on the 2nd lap, handing the title to the Italian. Dovizioso became the 4th youngest world champion in history thanks to 2nd place in the race, won by Australian Casey Stoner. The victory was his first of the season and the first for KTM since they arrived in Grand Prix road racing last season. Alvaro Bautista completed the podium in 3rd place, but the headlines will go to Dovizioso and Honda after an unerringly consistent season with just one result outside the top 4 from the 14 races so far. 2 rounds in Australia and Spain remain. And finally, there may still be questions over the future of a British Formula One Grand Prix, but the party goes on for another favourite British motorsport, lawnmower racing, even at the risk of domestic disharmony.
Passionate to the last degree. It was so passionate, in fact, that yesterday I wasn't allowed to come because I had to do the gardening. But this morning she was dozing and I got out of the house quickly enough because the call of the British Grand Prix is so great.
Racing takes place across 2 fields in front of a pub, and the circuit is split by a hedge, which is the narrowest part of the track. For obvious safety reasons, all the blades are removed from racing mowers, but the machines are allowed only minor modifications. There are no team orders, and mowers race in a grass field which is far from level. The format of the Grand Prix sees a series of sprint races where drivers accumulate valuable points, and the driver with the most points is deemed champion. Conditions were near perfect, with the dry and somewhat dusty atmosphere, but a steady breeze sweeping the dust away from the track. Battling it out for top honours this year were the current world champion Mike Creswell, seasoned veteran Graham Harvey, and the young pretender Steve Bush. In the end, it was Creswell, a 44-year-old mechanic from Woking in Surrey, who came out on top, securing victory with 176 points. This branch of motorsport is devoid of the big business sponsors in Formula One, but some say it's every bit as exciting. And in this most democratic of sports, and unlike the wasteful champagne spraying which goes on after a Formula One Grand Prix, even the new world champion is obliged to help clear the course of hay bales after the racing. So whether you like your action sandy, in the air, or just near the track, so you stay on track and up to speed, make sure you catch next week's Drive.